All right, everybody, we're here for the vocal vlog today. I'm just going to give you guys sort of a general idea with what we're working on here with the vocals on this song. So, since we're to the vocals already and the lyrics are going to give away what this is, I'm going to go ahead and reveal what the cover that I am making actually is. And it's basically if Soundgarden wrote Even Flow, the Pearl Jam song, you know. Of course, cover styles are kind of a popular thing on YouTube right now with people. You know, you think of the likes of like Anthony Vincent and Matt Glocky. Those guys do this kind of stuff all the time. I'm obviously not as prolific because, well, I'm not doing this as a full-time job, and it also just takes me a long time to be able to make songs. But yeah, that's basically what we're doing. So the vocals we're going for are Chris Cornell style, obviously. It's going to be younger Chris Cornell, and there is a difference between how he sang, you know, pre-Audio Slave and how he sang during and after that. So now, because I'm notoriously worse on camera with singing, we're probably not going to keep anything that I actually do today, although I wasn't planning on that anyway, because I don't think I feel in the best shape to get the best vocals that I could today. So probably tomorrow we're going to really get into the meat of doing this, which is not going to be on the vlog, but this is, again, just to give you guys a general idea with kind of melody and style we're working with the vocals on this. And of course, before I forget to mention it, the microphone that we're working with today is the Lawton Audio LA220, I believe is what it is, which is kind of their, U87 style microphone, I think. This is not a particularly expensive microphone. It's $239, I think, or 279. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it, but it's still a pretty decent condenser microphone, so it works. Now, I did try this the other day, and I didn't really like how that sounded, even though I said it's a throwaway just to give you guys an idea. I don't want it to sound like, total garbage, so we're doing this again today here. Hopefully I don't forget the lyrics to the verses. I might have to do it in pieces because I might forget them. And now another note about style covers. Typically when guys do this, they'll do like a template song. So when you decide what song from what artist you're going to cover, and then you decide the artist style that you're going to do it for the style of the artist that you're actually going to do the song in. A lot of guys will do a song as a template kind of thing. So in this example, someone might do Outshine and do the whole thing kind of patterned after Outshined. In my case, I'm not doing that. Every section is kind of inspired from a different piece of a Soundgarden song, basically, to make a amalgamation kind of thing, which personally I think is going to sound a little more unique as its own cover because it's not immediately obvious what song it's based on. So yeah, it should be fun here. All right, so for the verses here, I kind of did like a Let Me Drown style thing. The vocals especially are based on this. Okay, it should be a good volume. Freeze down, rests his head on a pillow made of concrete again. Okay, and then let's take that from here. So I am going to have to do it in pieces. Feeling, maybe he'll see a little better set of days. Oh! That wasn't quite what I wanted there, but the verses are fine. Okay, pump it up, no head voice this time. Hello, faces that he sees time again, ain't that familiar? Dark grin, he can't help when he's happy, looks insane. Okay, I did skip some ad-libs for the pre-chorus, but it's just like, yeah and oh type of thing, but we can kind of go with what I was thinking. So based on where we ended that with the insane, that's okay. Yeah, we'll probably retake that at some point because that insane's a little better than what I just recorded. But after that part, we would be in the pre-chorus, would be something like, yeah, oh, that kind of oh thing. Chris Cornell does that quite a bit as an ad-lib. Oh! Oh! That one's a little better. You kind of have to get that. Oh! Make sure you get the breath afterward. The air that comes out at the end, that's a signature thing. All right, moving on to the chorus. The chorus is a follow the riff type of thing. So I did slightly edit the vocal melody just to make it make more sense. The intervals are also different because I'm doing it starting in at different notes and things like that. So it's a little bit different, but the riff and the vocal melody basically are the same, which is Soundgardenism outshined. That's how the chorus on that goes. So it's similar to that, is what we're doing basically. Even flow, thoughts arrive, I'm not recording. Even flow, thoughts arrive like butterflies. He don't know, so he chases them away. Someday he'll begin his life again, life again, life again. Okay, the pitch of those lives again at the end were not quite where I wanted them. Little bit off. I mean, again, like I said, this isn't going to be perfect stuff because this is a demonstration, not the real thing, because I really like to spend a lot more time on this kind of stuff. My time was also a little bit weird because I was early on that last line as well. But so that's basically what's going on with the chorus there. I have not decided yet on how I want to do some of those higher notes because there's an A and an A sharp in here in the melody, which is a little bit unusual, but I think it works because it does change the feeling of the chorus from how it sounds in Pearl Jam. This makes it a little darker, I guess. This makes it a little heavier, I guess, because I'm essentially thinking about the whole song as it being in D minor. So the A sharp is a flat, is your minor 6. So that's basically what's going on. But for the higher notes, I have not decided with how I want to do the vocal distortion. If I want to keep it more of that just regular compressed distortion, like begin his life, or begin his life. Because both styles are consistent with what Chris does. It's just figuring out for this chorus which kind is better for those higher notes. Because obviously doing the more nasally pointed distortion, that's easier to do. So that might be the way to go. We'll see when I get into some more detailed recording, when I'm actually, tracking this in the way I normally would. All right, so that is most of the vocals there. That's the first verse and then the first chorus. The choruses are going to be basically the same every time, so that's not really that complicated. And just to keep it more consistent with the timing, and also just because it's not typical, the ad-libs that Eddie does have been taken out for this version, because in choruses like this, Chris typically doesn't do ad-libs. He might do a couple here and there, but it's not every line, kind of how Eddie is, typically, because Chris Cornell, I think, tends to favor bigger choruses and like that, so it's better for you to have a double track vocal without ad-libs in that case. And then moving forward, the differences being in the second verse, it's going to be significantly more aggressive than the first one, which is, again, building off kind of the outshine thing. Although Let Me Drown does that a bit, but its verses aren't super aggressive, because the third verse in that is the aggressive one, which, of course, Even Flow only has 2 verses, so that's not how that's going to work out with this. It's going to be the second verse will be hyper aggressive. And then after that, it's just some ad-libs and different backing sounds for the other sections that don't have any lead vocals. They're going to have some backing stuff just to keep it interesting and keep it, more Soundgarden-like. And that's really it for all the vocal stuff that's going to be happening, so you guys get the idea of what we're working with here. And I will have another clip in this that shows what effects we are using on the way in on the vocal, which is really just a couple of compressors with some other settings turned on. But it's worth noting because I feel like it's a pretty good vocal process that gets you a really good sound to start with. So I'll be showing a little bit of that, and I'll see you guys in another vlog, hopefully, when we get into some more detailed vocal mixing and other mixing stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys for whatever vlog we got coming next. All right, now that we're on the computer, going to show you guys what we've got going on the way in for the vocals here. A pretty basic dual compressor thing. This is just what I do on the way in because this is an authentic way to record. And number two compressors really helps you control things with the vocal and get a really nice, solid vocal that's not quiet or loud. It's a pretty typical trick that people using analog stuff would do. So for digital, why not do the same thing? This also lets us, push the vocal signal within an inch of its life without peaking, which is kind of, to me at least, that's the ideal. Now, sometimes you don't want that, but you can always, adjust this stuff later or change the mix of the dry versus, compressed sound. So first of all, we've got the CLA 76 here. So the Chris Lord Algae, this is based on his 1176 compressors, the blue one and the black one. And what we've got on the way in is a 12:1 ratio on here. Tack is pretty quick, release is very quick. And then this stuff is standard. There's a lot you can do manipulating the input and output with this thing. The output does a lot. Actually need to put that at -18 where it normally is. So this is a very powerful control with this because it really lets you push the signal super hard. And the first compressor's job is to really clamp down on the signal and make sure the big loud stuff isn't being too big and too loud. And then for second one, we have Shep's Omni-Channel. We have the compressor on this at an 8:1. Attack's kind of the same, but the release is slower. So that's the main difference with this. And then type VCA fed optical. The optical will give you the hottest sound. VCA is a pretty standard one, but it's quieter, not as hot. And then the FET's somewhere in between the two of them. So it really depends on what you're going for. You can switch between these. You can do it afterward too if you want to change how that sounds, which is usually when I worry about the type that I'm using. Yeah, the threshold on this is -15. CLA does not give you a threshold. It's sort of just keeping you from peaking. The output is actually the threshold, basically, in the case of this. Because when you turn this down, it's quieter. When you turn it up, it's louder, and I think that's probably what's going on with it. So yeah, this is at -15 to be a little softer. This is just really soft to catch anything that you didn't before or to, make the quiet stuff louder. Main job of this, we're not using the EQ strip here. It means done separately. De-esser is on. We've got the low-pass version, which is going to catch all the high stuff above where it's set. I usually keep these at -16 because that seems to be a good spot to catch all the noisy stuff without making it sound too weird. And then this is catching really low stuff that you don't like. So those are working in tandem. The gate is on here just to get rid of the ambient sound, if there is any. You can play with all this stuff. I usually don't because I'm just trying to get ambient noise out. And then we do have the preamp saturator on here at a 60 on the even setting, which is usually where I do it. It seems to work pretty well. Gives you a pretty clean vocal sound. And of course, you end up with this guy, if you guys can hear it, soloed up right now. Freeze out, rest his head on a pillow made of concrete again. Feeling, maybe you'll see a little better set of days. Wasn't as happy with that one there, but okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of what we're doing here, and you can see on the yellow here. Freeze out, rest his head on a pillow made of concrete. That compressor is doing a lot of work on that because I've got this pretty damn hot. So anyway, yep, that's what's going on with the vocals on the way in. I'll give you guys a breakdown of the stuff that goes on after the vocals are all done and we get to mixing them to make them sound good. That'll be for later. So yeah, hopefully next time we'll be on to some more mixing stuff and I can show you guys that in the next vlog. So I'll see you then.